thing I want to address first and foremost before I really start getting into this shit, you guys. My focus in all of my work, you must understand this, that my focus is know thyself, and you will know the universe and creator source. And that's your soul code genetics. When I say creator source, I mean your soul code fucking genetics. From this though, part of what we came here to do is to set things back to how they were in the beginning, right? But unless you have the history, the true knowledge of what actually happened, you're in the thrall of everything keeping you from how powerful this is. Know thyself, know thy enemy, and you need not fear the result of 100,000 battles, of one battle, of 1,000,000 battles. It doesn't fucking matter. This principle rings true and it is timeless. We transmute fear into courage every time. Know thy enemy, as within, as without. All is within you, and I literally fucking mean all is within you. This is a malevolent consciousness that is seeking your vessel so that it can live off of you. And again, don't take my word for anything, but do customize what you hear as it fits into your own experience with your DNA in connection to your soul code genetics on a multidimensional level, not just a physical level. It's about the genetics of this fucking planet. That's what this war is all about. And I've said it, this planet is a seed planet. And that's why they want to harvest the genetics. They want to harvest you. So in the absolute sense, the matrix control system serves to destroy your spiritual growth, making you a fucking slave to these archonic forces and matrix control system. You have to understand that these agents not only see you as their enemy, but as their fucking food as well. Ask yourself, how the fuck does that make you feel? The idea that you're food. When, in truth, you are essence. They've got you into this feedback loop, making you think you are so much fucking less than what you are. And if you know how to utilize the tactics as they took, knowing what was sacred and use it against us on the highest levels of power structures, right on down to what's going on in the streets, and especially what's going on in domestic situations. They keep us in darkness and ignorance to the true reality of our true potential and learning the path of remembrance. Because in truth, these motherfuckers and their meat puppets have no power. They have no fucking power but what you give them. How does it get power? By you giving it power. So why don't you give yourself some fucking power? Give the power back to you. And yeah, they're slick, they're tricky. They know how to manipulate the mind and emotions on a certain level to hold you back. But it's not about pointing the fucking fingers here. It's about facing what the fuck is in the mirror. That voice inside your head. That's the hook. See, now we're coming into the time that we need to embrace the true essence of who the fuck we really are so that we can crush this fucking shit once and for all. And now the likelihood of attacks depends on two factors, okay? Their desire to attack as to the attention you garner and their ability to attack based on the weakness of your defense. Having strong defenses reduces the possibility of being attacked, let alone taken back into the illusion. Alright? Listen to what I'm saying. Strong defense consists of the following. You need to be aware of your internal weaknesses, doing the inner work, doing the alchemy in connection to your soul code genetics, listening to the consciousness. That's what alchemy is all about. It's the merging of spirit with matter, right? But because of the triangulation, because of the 369 and the astral barrier, set up in various ways, I can get into all the fucking ways they've done this, okay? In that dimension, there's what is known as the 9 veils. Okay, and the 9 veils is a labyrinth. Everybody talks about piercing the veil, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that many of you out there have pierced some veils, but I guarantee you, you have not pierced all of them, because if that was the case, then things would not be the way that they are. The gate is ahead. And I want to encourage everybody out there that is a part of this, and we've made some serious fucking progress. All the bullshit that we have been through has not been for nothing, so don't give up. Don't cave in. We are closer than we have ever been, And you need to realize right now is the time to push. Push within yourself. So trusting, encountering, and watching out for these things closely as they come up during the process. These things that are coming out, you're getting triggered the fuck out. Where's all this stuff coming from? You're having crazy dreams. You're having crazy fucking shit hit you, and you don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay? Understand, it's a part of all of this. It's a part of your awakening. You got to get away from the idea that it's all sunshine and rainbows and bliss and fucking glitter and unicorns and all that bullshit. Okay, because the true essence of what is beyond all of this puts that shit to fucking shame. Okay, here's some things you got to watch out for during this process, okay? These can be emotional triggers, ego flaws, lack of knowledge, in wisdom and understanding, and false assumptions, resentment towards yourself, bias and prejudice against yourself and what others have projected upon you in their ignorance, bias and prejudice against truth, emotional dependency upon sources of quote-unquote authority, blind spots in your own awareness. So be aware of your own internal and external weaknesses. Encountering or watching them closely, and these are things that they look for. These are the chinks in your armor. So you got to make sure you're strapped the fuck down, you're doing the inner work, and you're going through the healing process before you even start fucking engaging. People talk about, I want to ask or project. You're not ready for that yet. And even those of us that have been in astral battles and have been into the astral and gone through the labyrinth of the 9 veils and done all the work that we've done. These are the things that will get triggered out in you when you're going through that hall, cracking the hall of mirrors, to break the illusions that have been encased over the mind of humanity for fucking eons. And when you go to bridge the polarity within you, I'm here to remind you of what is already within yourself. I'm not your teacher. All of that is within you. And the things that I'm speaking are reflective of the inner teacher that is within me. So if it resonates with you, great. If not, look into it yourself. Please, please fucking do it. Alright, so before getting into the history of all of this, I want to talk about the ancient Batal. The ancient Batal apparently no longer exist in the material realm, but some have incarnated into human form on Earth again. And these beings were essentially co-creators in the beginning, and are the ones responsible for creating the original human race from Lyra. Most of the Batal live within the 12D consciousness gridwork of reality. But to take it even further into simpler terms, understand the true essence of what an angelic is. This is consciousness that we're dealing with, and there's definitely the counterfeit angelic principle being played out within the astral dimension, a twisted version on inverse, dealing with the clip-off and the way that these malevolent forces can mirror the original is all they can really play with. That they're within the confines of certain laws that they cannot override. And unless you know these laws, you're not going to know the difference. And unless you really know what we're dealing with, you're not going to know the difference either. So a little bit of history is that the original humans were a race of angels that resided here in this realm in alignment with Tara and the higher worlds. They once held and protected Earth's planetary shields as well as the rest of the universe. I'm speaking about the original universe here. The ancient Batal, they are very fucking real. Some have incarnated again to assist in healing and restoring this realm. But when it comes to the original betrayal that you hear about in allegory, that all falls back on the Alcyons. And I mentioned it in the Blue Flame video that it was a specific group of Alcyons, which then sparked the 100,000 Year War. It's all pieces of the same puzzle, but it all comes back to a betrayal that took place, which then was the cause point for the Cataclysm of Tara. And right now it may not seem like much on ground level, all that I'm talking about, but it's very important to understand all these things that I'm talking about, okay? The fallen angelics that everyone thinks they know anything about were already a part of creation over 560 million years ago. But as the allegories go on to say, that they made decisions that set, of course, a certain fate for themselves as it's been playing itself out, and it's reaching its culmination point. They have been genetically altered in ways that none of them can hold the higher frequencies of consciousness that connect them, cannot go through the biospiritual regenesis. Are you starting to see the picture here of what's really going on when it comes to the war on consciousness? They are trying to ride in on your fucking genetics. They are still infinitely immortal, and two are held in the cycles of reincarnation, where they rule as God from 4D and 3D. And Earth, our planet, has been under siege and has been waiting for the time when the planetary stargates and smaller portions of these planetary stargates were to be opened to bridge this time-space reality back to the original time-space alignment in place with the higher worlds. And that time is fucking now. I speak of the stellar activation cycle, okay? A stellar activation cycle is every 26,556 years. And ever since Lemuria and Atlantis, it was known that this is when the next stellar activation was going to occur. And there were plans made during those times, yet people are still asleep and they don't remember the times of Atlantis or Lemuria that stretches all the way back at least 300,000 years. And they think that all this is some kind of bullshit, right? Okay, but this is hundreds of thousands of years after what took place on Tara. Because you can trace Atlantis and Lemuria going back at least 300,000 years, which is my heritage that I've traced all the way back, all the way fucking back. And there's a young man that I found recently. His name is Brandon Michael Keys. I'm going to share a video that he uploaded speaking about all of this when it comes to my heritage and the true history of what's happened.
Hi, I'm here to discuss the red-headed Pleiadian connections and origins that is found in the Aldebaran star system. I don't call it Aldebaran, I call it Aldebaran. Now, this is something that I'm going to share with you. On the galactic interstellar origins of the red-headed people known as the Irish and the Scottish, the celestial cosmic origins of the Gaelic Celtic peoples of northwestern Europe, as well as the Danish, Denmark, Ireland, and Scotland are all intertwined. Now, when it comes to the Aldebaran star system, there was a cosmic war. It was so vast, so powerful. I call it the 22,000-year total cosmic space war. It was a galactic interplanetary conflict that occurred between this solar system that we live in now and the solar systems and star systems that I come from, or those of us who come from the same genetic group, and ancestral group, as well as those of us who are actually from there in our past lives as well. Now, when it comes to the governing body that used to govern this galaxy and this entire star system was not Ashtar Command, it was not the Galactic Federation of Light. The real and authentic one that goes back over 22,000 years ago or more was the Galactic Interplanetary Confederation that covered all and took care of all internal affairs between various star systems and covered all the bases regarding the governing body of each sector of space. We had starfighting units, or star-fighting combat warriors, and it was a technologically advanced human civilization. Yes, human. It is true that there is a connection between Ireland and Scotland and the Aldebaran star system, and that there is a definite connection between the Tuatha De Danann and the Plejaran Pleiadians, who stem from an older civilization through Aldebaran, from the original civilization known as Lyra, and the Lyran civilization. All that happened after the Lyran Orion Wars took place. We had to set up an institutional body of starfighters, starfighting units. We were basically the armband of human freedom, liberty, and the protection of other human-based civilizations in the galaxy, because we were coming under direct attack over 22,000 years ago by Orion elite, as well as Draconian elite members of the Orion and Draconian empires. One thing that this entire galaxy has forgotten, and that Atlantis was founded by a group of people known as Atlans, or Azilians, or Ignitians. They are none other than the Aldebaran group of red-headed Plejaran Pleiadians, who migrated from that star system down and then eventually worked its way through colony ships, as well as other types of ships that was used to colonize and land here on Earth. Let's just say I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the deceit. I'm tired of the manipulation of facts. There are intelligence agencies across the board here on Earth and in the galaxy that has misconstrued every piece of viable information regarding the actual conflicts that happened between 12,000 and 22,000 years ago during the great 22,000-year total cosmic space war. The Galactic Interplanetary Confederation held its ground and took control of this sector of space. And that's what happened. We were attacked by the Draconians and the Orions from the Orion and Draconian star systems and empires. They came to destroy Atlantis, which was founded by us, humans. Humans. We are the ones that built Atlantis. We are the ones that built all of the megalithic stone sites and stone structures. We did that. That is our creation. It is nobody else's. They cannot take the credit from us. In fact, one thing that Joseph P. Farrow fails to discuss in his findings and in his research, he fails to indicate it was us human beings of the Aryan race that was the vanquished party. We were the vanquished party, that the invading race came and took the technology from us. We're the ones that developed it. We're the ones that built it. Of the Galactic Interplanetary Confederation of Lyran descendants, who was of the Pleiadian people of Aldebaran. We came and we descend from the Lyran Orion Wars and more. And I am basically stating the truth that we've been lied to. And this dark auburn, red-haired individual and hazel-colored eyed man is standing up for the truth of our culture. We have been manipulated. All of humanity has been manipulated. Every race on Earth descend from a higher, advanced race of their own. The Asians, the Europeans, the Native Americans, the Mesoamericans, They all descend from their own celestial race or races, including our race being the Aldebaran or Aldebaran origins. And it is time for the world to wake up and see for themselves. Atlantis, our technology, everything. We were the original Atlantean Hyperboreans. I've seen some of the things that has been discovered in space and on our planets, in our solar systems. I have seen definitely in person in my past life. Yeah, I was involved in that war. And I do not forget. I have retained my memory for a very, very long time. My mission is to bring the truth to the world, no matter what. Thank you. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are. I will be back again with another video of this. Thank you.
See, now what I want you to understand is that here is someone who has been activated, who has been given the soul code genetic memory that is there within him. And I can also confirm the information that he just presented, because I too have memory of all of this taking place. Next, I'm going to get into the concept of the fifth seal. The fifth seal is the Atlantean cycle that we have been caught in for longer than I can even say, and there really is nothing new under the sun. The vision of the souls under the altar in the book of Revelation is symbolic of the Lemurians and Atlanteans who were imprisoned from the space from where the moon was born, which is Tara. The 9th verse, occult interpretation, reads, quote, "When the fifth seal was opened, I saw underneath the altar the souls of those who had been slain by the quote-unquote word of God. For this reason, of what they knew and the sacred teaching that they held, this reveals a much more accurate script and confirms things even further. The altar beneath which our ancestors were imprisoned was the altar where the Thothians were given material bodies through the blood sacrifice of the wars that took place. A passage opening from beneath it into the great space below, which is where the Lemurians and Atlanteans were imprisoned beneath the altar, and fell into the teaching of the Dark Lords and the sorcerers, dead to the outer world by the power of the quote-unquote Word of God. Yet there were those who cried out for vengeance on the Thothians and continued to hold the true teaching. Those who would then rise again above those who had led the world astray. The Sumerian Draconian agenda led then to the formation of the Sumerian Draconian Empire, and then the corruption of Kemet, which took place over the course of the 22,000-year war, came to the eventual takeover of the Dark Lords. For in those times it was Thoth. In our times now, it is your own thought, because Thoth means thought. That is why it is all a state of mind. Thoth was only one of the many traitors to the Emerald Order, who has tainted the name of Melchizedek for ages. For as a man or woman think, so they will be. Giving mankind the outcome to which the Thothians could never attain, this is how they have led mankind by the fucking nose. A promised outcome that will never happen because they kept the secret and never finished their initiation. This world has been seriously fucking mindfucked beyond what I can even say at the moment. And it doesn't matter anymore, because those of us that already know the difference within us, the contrast is getting more apparent. Yet they would never reveal to you that you are the key, and they themselves do not know the secret to the mysteries that they hijacked. Now then, you may be asking, how do I access my soul code genetic memory? Well, we're going to get into that later after this series. And those of us here to reveal these things, we are already masters and can show you how you can become the master of yourself. But it is you who must continue to be actualized. As all things must be restored and put back into alignment, that which is spread like poison over the ages, this has to do with the ancient brotherhoods, with all things magic and all things occult. And it's not to mention what is beyond all of this, which I have been immersing myself in, because many are going to have to burn through all of this to even fully understand what I am getting at. So I must go at pace, because this is all very important to know. Going back to the fifth seal now, the white robes are symbolic of the sixth root race, who are meant to bridge the realms again out of the fifth cycle that we have been in. And that seal is really starting to break. I feel it, you guys. Hardcore. So take what I say or leave it. But again, if people cannot recognize the hour that we are in, then they are truly blind. This is not an idea in the mind or just a simple topic of conversation. This is fucking real, and it's happening right now. And the cause to which the Thothians did what they did must be met with its effect. They still exist to this very day and are still known as the Brotherhood of the Snake. They have many sects, and yes, they are the Dark Luciferians. This is law, though, and the pendulum is in our favor. It's in your favor. If we do not continue to catch these things, like I've been saying, then it doesn't happen. Your time is now. Don't get lazy or discouraged, or compromise your progression, or allow the residue of an ancient past you still don't fully fucking understand prevent you from these present moments. All is within you. And you have to keep leveling the fuck up, no matter what. This is what was revealed to me in Amente, as I've taken many times there in the halls within myself. And it has been confirmed now in my studies with what Brandon Michael Keyes said, others as well, and the other information that I'm about to get into in this video. My soul code genetics have spoken to me and revealed these things to me years in advance before the reference point has presented itself, which it has through my study with occult sciences and information that I've looked into, many mentors, many teachers, many hours of listening and reading and studying, poring over information night after night, day after day. This is the hour where it all becomes unveiled. And with the studies that have been taking place with all of this, I can honestly tell you, and everything I've done to go even deeper into places of healing and integration within myself, I am definitely going to the next level, and a lot more is being revealed. Again, there is no arrival point with anything. All is within you. But these are the things that I'm going to be presenting in the future, once we get past all of this, so that you too can move into the deeper understanding of who you are and what you are truly connected to, otherwise on the inverse, and what's beyond all of it. And now you have a choice whether or not you are going to go along with the lie or come into the true knowledge so that you can become the master of yourself. There are so many systems and methods of creation that have taken place that again have layered themselves over the reality of what is really going on. You have ancient stellar races and you have the new stellar races. Just all of these groups and races that were essentially formed after the Cataclysms took place, and then the distortion set in. And those of us here with ancient stellar genetics, we hold the original template within us and are essentially the cosmic parent to the new stellar races. And we are here again as diplomats to carry out this process for all, so that all can potentially come back into wholeness. But it's not going to happen unless we eradicate the parasite and all the things that have been holding us back from bridging the worlds again. And where we are right now, at this moment, there is no arrival point in any part of the grid works and the systems that have been set up. All of this is a spark for you to remember that we are here once again, as I have said, to bridge the worlds once again. Those of us that came here to assist during this time, and I'm trying to fucking remind you of what we're dealing with, the history of what has really happened, and getting into the series later, I'm going to start showing you how to actually crush these motherfuckers in the astral. So you better get ready. I'm just laying out some groundwork so that we know what we're actually fucking dealing with here. I'm not going to leave it to speculation. I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of things that I'm looking at here, and I'm pouring over a lot of stuff. But when you come back in and when you incarnate, your consciousness is wiped. Okay, and those of us that are here, we've taken on the template of our family bloodlines, which is what has layered itself over the true soul essence and soul consciousness of who you really are. Okay, and that's what the cleanse and purge is all about. Getting into the healing aspect of how this is all tied into fucking everything. And I've come to remember mine and what I'm connected to. And though many have had a hard time knowing what forces are moving through them, or moving with them, or moving around them, or who to trust or who not to trust, through all of that, I know what the fuck moves through me, and I trust. Because it's not really me saying it. It's, okay. This makes other people vulnerable through what they do not fully understand. And it's not to say that there isn't some level of understanding with everybody out there. But this is what it means to be on the mountaintop. This is what it means to have a grand outlook upon the whole picture. And there are things here we don't see because we don't see and feel them, and it can only happen in sync with the heart center, your first eye being activated, all your chakras in alignment, all your bodies, all your sheath bodies, and all the different bodies and energy things that we have, they all have to be working in mechanical fashion, plugged into the right power source and flowing right. And there are things that we're going to have to need to know if we are going to maintain the integrity of the original template that is there within the core of who we are. Otherwise, you have been given new stellar genetics that also need to be integrated. But for this to work in the right way, it must be beyond the barrier, and it must be working towards bridging the worlds again. Otherwise, anything that comes and says, hey, come with me, that's a red flag. Again, I'm here as a diplomat to present this information for those to whom it's meant. And there is a strict warning that comes with all of this. If anybody out there tries to fuck with this information, the repercussions of that are going to come back on you 100-fold. I declare that now, as I have been positioned to guard and protect this knowledge. I am not casting these pearls before swine, but they are there as a gift for you to help you unlock what is truly there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to present to everybody on here is the mathematics of the 369. I always talk about the 369, but this can be mathematically proven to exist, and will show you the triangulation of how everything is locked into the illusion of duality, and also the track of infinity that we have been trapped in.
The secret of this whole thing is the axis, the number 9. It's the most important part. Only number 9 lines up with over zero, right there, which is where the 0 is, the hole, the vortex that must exist. Number 9 is the only number that never changes. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, because multiples of 9, 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, always reduce back to 9. At this time, I'm just going to go to the 3, I'm going to go to the 6, I'm going to go to the 9. Now David knows that I've been doing the binary code. But the binary code does not exist. It's a pretty big claim. The minimum amount of parts of anything is 3. Okay? The binary code is revealing that everything is based, that it's really thirds. In fact, if you look at the symbol, it's all triangulated. Okay? So let's take the binary code, look at it as my discrete number pattern. Instead of going 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, I'll go 1, 2, 4, 8, but I'll make 16 a 7, I'll make 32 a 5, and I'm back to 64, which is times 1. I'm just going to look. We know when we have a circle that a 120 degree and a 240 degree is triangulated. So I'm not going to call this a 240 and 120 degree, I'm going to call it a 3 and a 6. It's the same thing, triangulation. And that's all I'm looking at to prove that everything's based on thirds, not twos. So again, I'm looking at not the 120, but I'm going 1 plus 2 plus 0 equals 3. and I'm going 2 plus 4 plus 0 equals 6. I'm just looking at the single digit and keeping it simple. And that is enough information for me to understand the geometry of it, the ratio and the proportion. And looking at the binary code, 1 and 2 is 3, 2 and 4 is 6, 4 and 8 is 12 is 3, 8 and 7 is 15 is 6, 7 and 5 is 12 is 3, 5 and 1 is 6. The binary code is curving and warping like the universe around something invisible. There's an invisible spindle, and it is right here. And this has caused people so much trouble in mathematics. And the 396 are in a different dimension and move in a different way and have a whole different reality than the 124875. And you never get a 396 from the 124875. But the binary code, the 124875, is triangulated. So just to finish this up, based on the optical illusion of the duality, 3 and 6 end up in the middle of nowhere. 3 doubled is 6, that's the 3, the yang is the 6, yin and yang. 3 doubled is 6, 6 doubled is 12, 1 and 2 is 3, 12 doubled is 24, 6, 24 doubled is 48 equals 12 is 3, 48 doubled is 96 equals 15, 6. 3 and 6, like male and female, black and white, are a duality that are always oscillating in dance, one or the other, okay? But the 9 is invisible. It's always there, it's the third part, and it's actually the control. Because when 9's positive, 3 and 6 are both negative. When 9's negative, 3 and 6 are both positive, and I haven't added the feature of polarity to this yet. But the third part of the yin and yang is the boundary condition. Looks like an S-curve. And what this math does, what our decimal system does, is too much to go into next, which is harmonic shears, which is the grain of everything. Like wood has a grain, and it's called the underpinning geometry of the universe. And with this, understanding what we already have had and what we've already known, you could figure out every secret in the universe. 4 doubled is 8, 8 doubled is 16, okay, but we're still at that 7 that we got there by halving 0.25. But this time we just go 1 plus 6 equals 7. 16 doubled is 32. You can never leave the track of infinity, okay? 3 plus 2 is 5. 32 doubled is 64, 64, which equals 10, which equals 1. And you're back to where you began. You've gone one complete cycle of infinity, okay? That's why the I Ching is 64, not because 8 times 8 is 64, but because it's one complete cycle of infinity.
So there you have it, guys. This all goes back to the fifth seal. This all goes back to the Atlantean cycle that we've been in. And this all goes back to the sacred teaching that has been kept, thrown on the inverse to control us so that we don't remember. Those who do the work of alchemy correctly already had the potential genetic coding of soul code consciousness that these angelic humans had in the beginning, and activating within them, as do the indigo races and all these other stellar races that are, potentially doing the same kind of thing. You got to realize the difference between the counterfeit and the fucking real. Okay, I'm presenting the real here, as well as running the power and the blue flame frequency into the planet in order that the true stargates can open. Okay, and we were the keepers of these stargates. We are the stargates. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Be lifted up, you everlasting doors. This is why we've suffered the shit that we have. To the conditioned state in which we are here to transmute and overcome and manifest the true soul essence of what we are in connection to truth and reality. The original teaching used the original 15-dimensional realm structure to align consciousness and conscious integration with the four worlds and knowledge, and we're here now to do again what we once did then. This represents the structure of the way creation is in the multi-dimensional universe. And I'm not just talking about the physical universe. I'm talking about the universe on a multi-dimensional level. Okay, 12th dimension is where the pre-matter frequencies, the divine blueprint, exist. 15th dimension down to the 13 is the out-breath and the spark of creator source. In spirit to soul frequency. Okay? There is a lifeline that links us to the higher worlds and to creator source, which is the inner frequencies of the 13 that align us through this pre-matter template. In essence, it is the power and energy of who we are. We have the ability to carry those frequencies here in our physical bodies now because of the time that we are in. And that's what I'm trying to address. Now is the time to pull this in. We have a window. Very strategic and important time. And you better listen to what the fuck I'm saying. For your sake. It's no consequence to me. Listen. It's no consequence to me whether you listen or not. Alright? And we're here to assist the planet in raising the frequency, and replace the pillars, because we are the pillars. I know these are bold things I'm saying, but this is coming from a deeper place within me where my mind is completely and totally in balance and at peace. The planet still has frequency potential, but the things that have happened to certain templates on this planet over, the last 28,000 years, they couldn't run the full strand DNA soul code frequencies until now. And we're here to restore the power of the 13 and the 144 frequency. That is the power that I have experienced. That is the power to be experienced. And our bodies, our physical bodies, are the conduits that allow these frequencies to be restored, as above, so below. So the type of energy we carry will depend on how much we know about our anatomy, about our mechanics, about how our personal systems work, of which the knowledge is available, and to know thyself. But if we don't know that we have chakras running on an old system, with broken fragments and all this unconscious programming that we're dealing with in these places, that is there in place of the soul code genetic chakra system, then we don't know about auric levels and how to keep them clear. And we're not going to know what to do with ourselves. And we will become easy prey for these things within the labyrinth of the 9 veils and the astral barrier. They might even be using our fields and energy for something that you don't even know that they're using you for. And that shit happens all the fucking time. That's what I'm saying. You really need to take a closer look, everybody out there, and see what you are truly connected to. And recognize whether or not you are on a feedback loop system that is designed to crystallize you into a form that you will never be able to evolve beyond. Because the true holistic system of the all is an eternal thing. It has no beginning and it has no end. It always was. And that's the difference. And if we're still running on all this old templating, there are frequency shields that we can create psychic defense from within us in connection to cosmic source fields that protect us. And that's the difference. So get away from the term God or even the term source and how it's been used via the New Age. None of this is my truth. There is no master over truth. Truth always was, and it will always be. And it will always churn up the dirty shadow bullshit that is holding us back from what it is trying to bring us into. It permeates every realm, every dimension, and then beyond. Into the realms of the known, the unknown, and then the unknowable. Okay, so now it's time to get into the history before history. And to really know where things are in these moments, one must remember the Luciferian rebellion. This, of course, has its roots in the Cataclysm of Torah, when the invader races and the fallen angelics did their thing. But our human history has been mainly translated back to the time of Sumerian Egypt. And honestly, it never made sense to me why Egypt appeared out of nowhere. I just knew within myself that it was complete fucking bullshit. The knowing that not everything that they were saying is true. Especially when it came to religion growing up. Okay, at this point in our current historical record, the multi-dimensional genetic DNA is kept unplugged and held at a two-strand consciousness awareness. You hear what I just said? Your consciousness is being held at a two-strand, when the potential of the original template is a 12 to 15 strand. And then multiply that on a multi-dimensional level, now you're starting to get a little bit fucking closer to what I'm talking about. Okay, because you also, it isn't just physical genetics. You know, the genetics of the soul, genetics of the spirit, you know, the genetics of your etheric body, the genetics of your mental body, the genetics of your emotional body. All these genetics, this is consciousness. And it's all working to put itself back together. Okay, anyways, moving on. I've shared how all this works, but it's the knowing within the balanced mind of which has been revealed by the awakened heart in association to the pain and trauma we feel. And we're healing through that, but it keeps on wanting to play itself out lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It's perpetuating itself on an unconscious level, you guys. This is all unconscious, but I'm exposing it now. It's conscious. You hear what I'm saying? And it's all the cause for the post-traumatic stress and the fear that humanity is under a spell with. That's the root of it. Okay? And get this right. Fear is a supernatural force that is invoked upon you. Okay, there's healthy fear, you know. But this is the type of fear that completely disempowers you. This is the memory of what they have wanted to keep erased from our conscious minds. And the Galactic Wars, as well, as much as what has happened way before all of what I'm going to get into, unaware of the ego and sorcery and how it plays into all this, and Babylon, you know, and I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about these specific factions, okay? All these ancient bloodlines, the Brotherhood of the Snake, okay? I'm going to share more about where Kemet and Egypt actually came from. Again, this is an Irishman talking about this. But yeah, I'm going to share more of what's really going on under the umbrella of what we think is normal history, and how the history of everything past the point in history is erased from our memory. It's been, you know, they burned the books, they burned the scrolls, they got rid of everything so that you don't fucking remember. But you can remember because this memory is within you. And I'm here to give it back to you. Okay? 28,000 to 26,000 years ago, just before the false timeline of 5,500 years ago, a specific group of black magicians ripped a 5D wormhole into Saqqara, Egypt, which brought about the destruction of Atlantis. Everybody's talking about 5D ascension, right? And you better keep on questioning that and understand that there is a dark Luciferian false light ascension agenda going on with all the stuff in reference here to 5D. And I'm coming from the standpoint of 15th dimensional conscious awareness in connection, and 5D consciousness has been just as compromised as 3D and 4D and even up into 6D. This is what, you know, we're dealing with on a spiritual level here. Everything has been fragmented off from itself. Anything that did not come from the holistic core of 15th dimensional consciousness and the original soul code strand DNA template, you know, they're part of the sleeper races. There's sleepers, the unbegun. And all this has been used to perpetuate the false light religion and New Age agenda and false ascension agenda, and is feeding the system for the Zeta Draconians and all these other malevolent races that want a piece of the pie. This group of sorcerers settled into the remains of Atlantis, which is where Egypt came from. And I'm not talking about pre-Diluvian Egypt, I'm talking about what it became after all this fucking shit went down. And I'm not saying that there wasn't good things that came out of Egypt. Egypt is far, far, far more ancient than you can even wrap your mind around. Far more ancient. And was around before all this shit went down. So this specific group of sorcerers, they became subject to the Zeta Draconians and the other malevolence. Atlantis went all the way up into Ireland and Scotland and England and all the other places that's linked to the annihilation of the Magi and the slavery of my ancestors after all this fucking shit went down. Why do you think the Irish are as crazy as we fucking are? Because this is in our race memory. Everything that I'm talking about is in your race memory. And all the black magic that has spewed itself and the manipulation up until this point, and is why they rewrote human history from a 5,500 year to 13,000 year timeline point of origin. It was to keep you stupid and unaware of reality, because trust me, they know all this shit, but they don't know everything. And I'm not even spilling most of what I know. I'm just still, like I said, giving you some groundwork to work with here so you can start looking at all this shit yourself. I've even had dreams about what happened in Atlantis and Lemuria, not even knowing what the fuck was going on at the time I was having these dreams, right? But then years later, through my research and study, it revealed itself. Now remember, all that happened just years after the Lemurian and Atlantean Holocaust, as well as millions of years prehistory going all the way back to Torah. And this is the biggest reason why they fucked with the multigenetic DNA again and again and again, like I've been talking about. So the fallen angelic races and the Zeta Draconians have ruled behind the scenes in the base concept of religion, especially Christianity. I'm not talking about the mystic. I'm talking about the Roman motherfucking Catholic Church. Okay, and that's a whole other fucking topic. But Roman Catholicism promoted the distortion and false ascension through the Christ story, and taking that which was sacred in the beginning, which all religion has done in fragments, and twisted everything into ultra-violent agenda that has always led humanity into every patriarchal and matriarchal domination system, and has also been perpetuating the reincarnation, death and life cycle and false afterlife recycle into the astral barrier of the fourth dimension. I mean, how many more confirmations need to be made? Anything I look to and study confirms this again and again, and for a reason. Because this is the shit that needs to go down. This is what keeps erasing our memory every time we come in. But they cannot destroy the soul codes that I hold and what others hold. At the same time, this is what keeps perpetuating the victimizer, mind control, enslavement centered around fear. You gotta transmute fear into courage. You are courage. You are strength. That's what the fuck you are. These are some final setbacks that need to be addressed. First, the willful ignorance of truth. When it presents itself, you willfully ignore the truth that the extra-dimensional false light and false ascension agenda is in place of the true organic ascension. And we wonder why nothing has really changed, like I've been talking about. It's because all of this needs to come from a place of self-actualization in connection with the core of who you really are. But the difference in our multigenetic repair and the manipulation is the installed frequency fence and the astral barrier is what keeps unplugging the multigenetic DNA soul code memory from fully coming online. The 15th dimensional consciousness needs to make its connection to the two strands and vice versa. This is the pull that you feel within yourself if your heart center has been activated, if your other bodies have been activated. You can really feel this pull. And it's also part of the pain you feel. And it's the burning past the literal etheric net that has cast itself around the earth within the etheric body of the planet and within the etheric body of you. This is the shadow that the ego protects for fear of its own annihilation. And it attempts to scramble the fire letter sequence of the original organic soul code DNA template of 15th dimensional consciousness and to block the higher senses. And we have 37 of them. Thus, block our multidimensional window to other timelines in reality, in remembrance to who we really are and all that's playing out all at the same time. We're still in the story, guys. Right this second, right fucking now. But it's time to take the pen, put it to the paper, and start writing. And because of the Stargate takeover in Egypt during the Luciferian rebellion, it has allowed these groups to keep erasing human race memory within the labyrinth of the Nine Veils. And you got to remember, like I said, you are the Stargate. You are the gate. You are the veil. All is within. Are you starting to catch what I'm saying? I know some of you are. Like I've said, they are working towards a false ascension into the Phantom Matrix. Please, you guys, you got to know the difference when it comes to all this. And for those with their genetic preference under mind control to serve the agenda of slavery on Earth, they gave not only the real Atlantean Cataclysm history as a program to ego and fear, going all the way back, the 4D tech and the machinery and how it works to distort the influx of the power of the original soul code consciousness and the tree of life. Okay, that template is a homing device, and those that have this template, they're able to retrieve all the aspects of the soul code DNA template and retrieve all of the soul code fragments. Apparently, the invasion also blocked the 8th portal and the 12th portal of planetary gates. Therefore, unblocking the 8th chakra and the 12th chakra energy points has been a major challenge in healing and integration, because much of this is actually stored in those points of our multi-genetic DNA soul code memory. This is what's been blocking the Ruach, the life force, the Nigong, from its natural flow. It's blocked all the endocrine system glands, the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the thyroid, etc. Then with all the etheric implants and holographic inserts, and has been the main reason for sickness and disease and physical death. As it comes with age or severe circumstance, it has severely shortened the lifespan of our physical bodies and is what has damaged the immune system. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot, but all of this can be healed and is what we're healing through. This is what the soul code genetic DNA template of 15th dimensional consciousness brings us out of. It brings us out of the fear of death into the power of life and healing and empowerment and courage. This is what ignites the mind and puts it back in the right place and balance with the first eye. This is the power that burns away all sickness and disease that is held within the etheric body. But we got to free our fucking minds first. I have responsibility to present these things, and I need to share it with those that have the eyes to see and ears to hear what the fuck I'm saying. And for real, fucking people that use the Bible and the quote-unquote Word of God for religious mind control to the Jehovian Draconian faction, which is Yaldabaoth, the Archon Dracon Overlord, who's the ruler over all patriarchal and matriarchal domination and enslavement agendas in the guise of a loving God. All these people talk about doomsday and Armageddon are in programming to crucifixion implants. And you better listen the fuck up. The Zeta Draconians formed the Judeo-Christian Church of Rome through the dark Luciferian faction and used the crucified Christ allegory and the Father God religion of Jehovah, who is Yaldabaoth, to perpetuate some of the greatest spiritual abuse of human beings in the last 2,000 fucking years. And to keep you reaching and warring and doing nothing, not knowing the difference. This is psychological and spiritual warfare waged against humanity, and has been in the form of mind control that uses brainwashing through fear and persecution based upon a cataclysm which the Armageddon story and Revelation in the Bible is really based upon. It already fucking happened, you guys, and is what keeps playing itself out again and again and again. This is the hell that they are keeping us in to feed off death and chaos. Do you fucking get it now? And the thing is that we are beyond all of this shit. And at the core, wound and trauma is not only from Tara, but for most of humanity, it's due to the Atlantean and Lemurian cataclysm, which took place 28,000 to 26,000 years ago, and is missing on a 5,500 year to 13,000 year timeline of false fucking history. It is programming used to torment humans on the unconscious level on top of all the other shit we're healing through in this life. So fuck all that. Ponder that shit. Because I just peeled back a lot of fucking layers for you guys. So you got to feel what I'm saying too. Not just hear what I'm saying, but feel what the fuck I'm saying. Because it's going to give you certain keys in understanding how the game is actually played. So getting more into the history and the cataclysm of Tara. Tara exploded millions of years ago in effect to what the invader races and the fallen angelics that I've been talking about did to fragment things off from the original universe into this less progressive timeline that we have been trapped in. And as a result, these fragments of consciousness were pulled into the phantom matrix held within the labyrinth of the Nine Veils and the astral barrier, while the other fragmented aspects of who we are were held at bay in the higher realms. Tara and Maldek were the planetary, physical, and etheric bridge zones of consciousness between worlds of the higher dimensions, all the way up, all the way in, all the way out, to the 15th dimension. Energetically, this explosion was the wound of destruction to the bridge zones of 15th dimensional consciousness in connection to Creator Source. This is what happened when the cataclysm of Tara took place. In the beginning, before anything, Tara was known as the Twin Sun, or the Twin Star. The Maldekian Flames. We were the keepers of these realms. And the moon now is a reflection of what once was. It is a piece of Tara that they brought here to offset certain things in manipulation. As a mockery. That's why some of us are so drawn to it. It's a reminder. As with everything, but we are here to put things back into alignment. I can even see its spirit sometimes in the hue that surrounds it at night, and it's one of my personal planetary energies. Out of all of them, when it comes to Gnosis, the moon is the most important and yet the most misunderstood, especially in the Cancerian aspect of Scorpio, which is my personal disposition. I know who the fuck I am in all this. And this has been the cause of much of the soul amnesia when it comes to remembering who we are, along with all the manipulation of the energies of Saturn and the moon with the Saturn-Moon matrix. In other words, the Phantom Matrix. I am able to pierce the veils beyond what I can even say to you. So make no mistake and mark my words. Even when I made this connection within myself, I knew that there would come a time for me to share it. And we have made our connection again to this. At the same time, this is why it has been so fucking difficult. But this is the truth of the core wound to which we suffer and the pain of what we really feel in separation, which is an illusion. And once we really understand that the heavens above are truly within us, we can understand our true history and who we really are. and everything will continue to make sense with what is really going on. Once we understand where the true holistic and organic spiritual timeline of ascension resides, which is inner ascension, inner ascension, it happens and manifests here in the third dimension, as within, as without. The Cataclysm of Tara fragmented the original 12 planetary body DNA soul code blueprint, and is what caused the effect of distortion with the Fibonacci fractal virus that locks mankind into a two-strand DNA consciousness slave mind prison in effect to both, and is what sets the two-strand back into alignment with this template when it's activated within yourself. That's the difference. And the enemy has all its false light systems set up with all this in counterfeit. This is also how they've been able to cut the mind off from being in alignment with the frequency of the awakened heart, which is your true intelligence. When you're born, what is the first organ that physically grows? Your heart. So all that you are, all the potential, all of this soul code memory, most of its intelligence resides within the mind that is in the center of your chest. But the mind in your head must be in alignment for there to be correspondence. That's the difference. And this is also how they've been able to cut off the mind from being in alignment with the frequency of the awakened heart. And Tara is at the heart center of connection. It is the knowledge of knowing. So feel these things within you as awareness in consciousness. There is no dimension or realm that is outside yourself. Tara and Maldek were companion stargates in the original multidimensional template star system and flow with the original tree of life and the higher dimensions with Creator Source. The explosion of Tara threw us into what we deal with. Tara is the Thoth principle in the tree of life, the twin sun, and it was home to the blue flame. They were the co-creators. Some of us came back here again to assist in this time, but we've all been tethered in trajectory to one another and kept from coming back to ourselves and to each other again and again in order to perpetuate and stabilize the lockdown here in 3D. At the same time, it is the power to destroy the Zeta Draconian, fourth dimensional tech and 3D miasma. This is why the Dark Lords hate us, because that's the template we hold. We burn down the unconscious outpost and substructure that has attached itself to the mind and the programming opposed the higher consciousness of the heart center and soul. This is what brings things back into alignment. And yes, the mechanics of all of this is very important to understand when it comes to your personal systems. You know, and there's always going to be people speaking out against what they don't understand. And that's fine. You motherfuckers can say whatever the fuck you want. But the stellar activation that we are in is bringing us to the point now where this is all meant to take place. It's already been happening. But this is how it works. The principle within us that needs its activation in connection to the soul code genetic consciousness, and is the connection to all that gives us the opportunity to reclaim our true cosmic inheritance and divine birthright. And all that I'm sharing is just a piece of the original soul code consciousness when it comes to my kin. There are those of us that know this without even knowing how we know. But now it's out. And this is the truth because the information confirms itself in the knowing. And anybody else that says otherwise, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm 20 fucking steps ahead from where I'm even at right now, speaking to you what I am. You know, and I'm getting pretty tired of all that's getting in the way of this knowing the difference. But again, I want everyone to be empowered regardless of anything. I want you to be encouraged regardless of anything. We're here to do more than just hold ideas in the mind that have no fucking heart and perish. Alright, now I want to talk about the frequency barrier and what the actual Ouroboros in the Tesseract looks like. That which encloses us in etheric technology. I know most of you are not ready for the reality of what's really going on, but this is actually an ancient model. There's what's known as the armillary sphere bands. Just check it out, man. It's right there. At least that's my theory. But at the same time, I know this shit exists because I've actually seen it. I've seen it with my first eye, third eye. First eye, third eye, same thing. It is the lockdown. It's the 369. This is what our energy in the planet is being used to generate our minds, emotions, perspectives. The frequency bands that exist over our planet makes this sphere and the Zeta Draconian control point in the fourth dimension. Most everything we see manifest here has greatly been affected by the cause of this reflection that keeps us on a much lower frequency of reality, blinded by the false light of holographic inserts. The fourth dimension is tangible, and it's just as real as the third dimension. You got to understand that all of these dimensions are tangible. Yes, physicality is the densest form of reality, but it's all still just as tangible as the third dimension. And when you really start waking up, and when you really start getting activated, and when you really start getting fucking prepared for what all of this is leading up to, this is the unveiling that takes place. You begin to see all of these things, and you have all of these experiences. Hopefully some of these things are answering a lot of the questions you may be having about some of those things that have happened. I can only speak from direct experience. And it's been my experience to see and witness the 4D tech hanging there in the sky right above LA, right on ley line 17 in Southern California. Not to mention all the other places I've been all around the country and all the shit I've seen. There's a lot of stories I could tell you guys. The frequency bands that exist over our planet that make this sphere is the Zeta Draconian control point in the fourth dimension. Most of everything else we see manifest in the third dimension has greatly been affected by the cause of this reflection that keeps us as much in a lower frequency of reality, blinded by the false light of holographic inserts. It's like I said, the fourth dimension is tangible and is just as real as 3D, only you cannot see reality for what it really is without the first eye being open, or catch a glimpse of what is truly beyond the labyrinth of the nine veils and the astral barrier. Because this is all hooked into the Ouroboros. This is all hooked into the Tesseract. This is the cause when it comes to this shit. They manipulated the as above, so below principle spiritually, and nothing on the planet is what the fuck it seems. This is where we are literally plugged in on an etheric level. Unless you have been willingly and fervently and with determination and passion working to free yourself from the matrix grid and come into the wisdom and understanding of proper knowledge that has been made occult, which I'm de-occulting. Knowledge, understanding, overstanding, wisdom, and manifestation is the path into the gnosis of who you really are, and anything we do aside from the understanding of this in the third dimension is going to amount to fucking shit. Hear me. It's all a fucking feedback loop. And it is from this place all has been contrived to control and enslave us. This is the outer darkness. This is the dragon whose tail, on a higher level of understanding and wisdom, the principle and energy within us is part of the access point within the heart in unlocking this gate. The Ouroboros is the gate. You are the key. And you must have the dragon and the fucking key if you're going to get out. Being the microcosmic to the macrocosmic portal that is 0 point of the vortex in the third dimension. Remember, again, know thyself. Remember to bring spirit and soul into alignment with the higher and inner through the spindle 9 and the fourth dimension and the etheric body with the energies and power of Creator Source. And that's your soul code genetics. When I say Creator Source, I mean your soul code fucking genetics. And when we subdue the dragon, what's the key? How do you find it within you? I know I've only had this channel going for a few, but I've been on this for the last 20 years. This is when the true essence of as above, so below will be brought back into its proper principle. And is when their grid is destroyed in place of the original. So in being aware of your internal and external weaknesses and countering or watching them closely, because these things will be targeted. Also, it's people you depend on, or vice versa, that can become unwitting tools of attack via their weaknesses being exploited, and can deal with the aspects of finance, which can be sabotaged and thus lead to a cascading series of problems in the fear of not surviving, and keep you in places the higher forces are working to take you out of. There can also be potential health weaknesses, which you may have and can be flared up and attacked to wear you down physically. And even things on a mundane level, such as mechanical problems, car accidents, malfunction, whatever. Life is life, right? Also slipping and falling on something to hurt yourself physically, or missing appointments due to various odd mishaps that may be delaying you. It's just, it's just weird, whacked out fucking shit that happens every now and then, And if all that doesn't work, then the people you care for can be used in areas which gets you involved being resolute and unwise in your decisions. They attack mainly to bias the decisions you haven't made yet, that you know in your heart are true, and to reinforce the wrong decisions that you make. This has to do with the manipulation of law of free will and the preference to win by their target's own willingness to submit. See, it's all about submission to these motherfuckers. Their goal to control you, to control your beingness, control your mind. I know a lot of you understand and understand these things, but you gotta go deeper now. We came here to be the cause point, so this transition can take place to set things back into alignment again. So know that prior to making the right choice, you may be attacked to keep you from making it. But once you make it, either way, further attacks confirm that you have made the right choice. And perhaps it's because you're afraid of making mistakes or being definitive in what you think you know on a higher level. And in this, you will receive constant attacks because you're still straddling the fence, and that is where you are most easily tipped over by the least amount of force. STS, which is the evil path, attacks the weakest link at its weakest moment. And not being definitive in your decisions creates such an opportunity for them. It's better to make a firm decision and be wrong than to fear ever being wrong and thus being double-minded, which makes you uncertain in everything and totally undisciplined in your progress. Also, lowering your profile as a target consists of these things too, or stopping whatever you're doing that makes you a threat is not a good option, as that defeats the very purpose of your existence when it comes to this. Any step forward to independence and freedom for yourself and others will naturally shine the spotlight upon you as well, so you might as well get the fuck over it already. You stir the fucking pot, you're gonna get some shit come at you. Get over yourself and realize who the fuck you are. So, to reduce attack, don't cower in the spotlight and return to your true self and move forward with ever-increasing strength in your defenses and truth. Gaining the knowledge you need and applying it naturally ups your defenses. So understand that the very knowledge that makes you a target can protect you against the succumbing attacks. Those who hoard knowledge without taking it seriously enough to apply it in life get all the targeting that comes with great knowledge. But it only possesses half the protection, and people like this potentially get eliminated pretty quickly. So seek to learn from all your experience. If you're open to learning from your experience, then the more they try to attack you. But in that way, the more knowledgeable you become. They take a gamble every time they attack. Either they win and you become weak, or they lose and you become stronger. It's your fucking choice. Egotistical psychopaths prone to wishful thinking about their skills and prowess are used against the individual, as they end up shooting themselves in the foot when they attack a strong target. So it's important to keep on high emotional frequency. You gotta feel into your power. You gotta free your mind and emotions. And when I say free your mind, I'm saying take control of you. If you get triggered out easy, if you're frightful and fearful, a reaction machine, one with buttons so sensitive it takes a simple push to get you just to splurge all your emotional energy into the etheric realm, Understand that these forces lap it up with delight, and then use it to hack into your mind and emotions even further. You potentially become a puppet they can easily control, and they will do their best to use your reactive condition to their advantage. Additionally, although these forces can apparently see beyond and analyze our probable futures, and their perception range is limited to the narrow spectrum of certain frequencies. Thus, they can only see and predict which resides in their choice to perceive. If you are in an evil mindset and mood, your probable future within that narrow spectrum, they can more easily fuck with you, predict what you're going to do next, and thus control you and keep you locked down. The solution is to stay out of their probability direction range by having composure, being attentive, being active rather than reactive. In that, though, keeping up your emotional frequency isn't about shielding yourself from the truth of this fucked up reality, but rather exposing the darkness. You gain knowledge and stay positive if you choose to. But it's a necessary tactical method when involved in a hyperdimensional ambush and spiritual warfare. Consider it donning in your metaphysical body armor and camouflage and foresight, listening to your intuition and awareness and knowing. This makes you less predictable. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have, the more choices you can make, because you're aware of those choices, and it is harder for them to calculate what you will do next. Being unpredictable makes them less efficient, and they must spread their resources to account a wider range of probable weaknesses. Attacks will always have more than one way of succeeding. Countering one route of attack doesn't mean that you haven't necessarily countered all. Knowing also that you can be your own worst enemy. For example, they can win through directly sabotaging your efforts. No fucking shit. Well, fuck you. You ain't gonna fucking sabotage my fucking efforts, motherfuckers. Or by getting you to sabotage yourself via overreaction and paranoia. Often when they cannot harm you directly, they try to scare you so that by your own overreaction you accomplish their goal. In such encounters you have two adversaries, them and yourself. Know thyself and know thy enemy, and you will never succumb. You got to fucking stay focused. You have to stay determined. You have to take the punches, man. You gotta sharpen up your sword, and you gotta strap your armor on, and you gotta say fuck you to the fucking world. It is time to rise the fuck up. You know, and add this to the possibility of being attacked, being abducted, being fucking abducted, okay, and mind programmed, these my labs and all this fucking crazy shit that's going down. The closer and closer we get to where we're supposed to be, the more these things are potentially going to happen with people that are completely unaware. Why? Because they are getting desperate, man. They're getting desperate, and you can see the importance of watching not only your adversary but also yourself. They have created numerous falsehoods in religion, philosophy, pseudo-spirituality, politics, and culture, all designed to disempower you by inducing you with a lack of faith and trust. It's the whole, oh well, this is just my life mentality, but that's the shit that allows these predators to run rampant. And it's not because they're strong, but it's because people make themselves weak by not standing up for themselves. You know, and it's worth at least fucking trying. You know, test your limits rather than falsely assume that you're not going to succeed in any of this. Yes, the fourth dimension is their territory, and so is the third dimension. And there are a million directions from which an attack can come invisibly from the darkness of ignorance. But if you drag them into the light by making their tactics visible to everyone, they wither, flee, or in rare cases go fucking insane themselves and reveal themselves fully. For example, winning a debate usually consists of wearing down and overwhelming your opponent. This is what they do by leveling loaded questions and accusations against you faster than you can respond. If you don't respond, they claim a win. If you do respond, they ignore what you say and immediately throw you into another accusation or question. And thus they eventually win when you slip up or give up. So don't give the fuck up. And if you slip up, correct yourself, get up, and start communicating better. That's why I'm making these fucking videos, because I need to communicate. My Mars is in Gemini, and I have to communicate this shit. You hear what I'm saying? Never give up. Never quit. And the best you can do in that case is see if the fight is really worth fighting, and extracting yourself if it isn't. You pick your battles. That's the other thing about, engaging in warfare. Just because, you get attacked or something's coming on you doesn't mean that you engage. Sometimes it's the bait and trap. They get you focused on something else while they come in on the fucking flank in whatever way or fashion that they fucking do, and then they got you. The truth will always speak for itself, and you have no obligation to explain yourself to the ignorant who purposefully avert their eyes away from the truth. Watch your emotional energy output. Emotions are energy. It's energy in motion. Okay, and this is what opens the doors to the other realms, is your emotion, your emotional intelligence. Emotion is where we get our magic from. It's not logic, it's not just thought, it's emotion. And thought and emotion need to be in balance. You can't have one without the other and think that you are operating as a truly holistic individual, with the split of the mind and the schizophrenic nature of our culture. The master-slave scenario going on within the mind, within yourself. So normally emotions help you to expand your range of action and thus enter new states of being on levels of experience and learning. But emotion, manipulated by this malevolent force, and misdirected thoughts can easily be used by STS forces to open up doors within your realm and within this realm. That's the other thing too. The only reason that they exist here on this planet is because human beings are giving them access. That's the only way that they can be here, is that they have a physical body to interdimensionally incarnate into the third dimension to open up doors into your realm. Or another way to look at it, if they can't directly reach you, they can still taunt you and exposing yourself where they can reach, and then hit hard what you reveal. Although negative emotions, and I'm talking about being cathartic, I'm talking about just being fucking real and saying shit like it is necessary. It's not being negative. A lot of people are like, he's being negative. No, I'm not being fucking negative. I'm not being negative about anything. In the sense of how the term negative has been equated to. And yeah, in context of what I'm saying, that's all the inverted emotion that I'm talking about. The inversion of our emotional intelligence. And these emotions can be helpful sometimes in alarming you to present danger, right? By way of indulging in them beyond their initial use as alarms. Also, you need to watch out for interacting with clearly harmful individuals who seem to be preoccupied with demanding your time and your energy. And I'm talking about sociopaths. I'm talking about fucking narcissists. I'm talking about the fucking vampires. And some people are sent as decoys, you can say agents, right, in reference to the Matrix, which can be used to breach your realm and hack your reality, and then leading into more severe attacks than the shit that was going on before. Also beware of implanted paranoia that cuts you off from potentially fruitful networking opportunities as well. And that's the thing. We all need to be coming together. We all need to be working together. Fuck the ego. Fuck all the bullshit. We have no time anymore for any of that stuff. Everybody wanting to be right in their own eyes about shit and then getting fucking all fucked up if somebody says something contrary. No, you got to let that fucking shit go, and you have to see the time we are in at the present moment right now. All of that stuff needs to be shed completely so that we can see clearly the path that is straight in front of us, because listen, the Ouroboros and that gate is right fucking in front of us. And there is no substitute for discernment. We must use our intuition. We must use our higher intelligence to be able to discern and to be able to gauge and to be able to judge situations on a clear level. You also need to understand that attacks happen on multiple fronts, meaning inside of you and outside of you simultaneously. Your mood can be artificially manipulated sucking you into states of complete despair, hopelessness, extreme depression. The list goes on and on. Or they are using pure psychic attacks through individuals that are working with these malevolents. And yes, these motherfuckers exist. And the sooner you realize that, the better off you're gonna fucking be. And all these things can be coupled with external attacks, exploiting the external weaknesses I mentioned earlier. Your judgment may be detrimentally affected while external conditions are set up to test your judgment and lure you into making unwise decisions. Therefore, when you're in a negative state of mind, refrain from making important decisions and instead have the patience to ground yourself, okay? Then you will have the clarity of mind and heart to carry on with wisdom and proper knowledge. Whatever your negative emotion is, just meditate upon it in its diametric opposite. Because a lot of these things that are happening and the influx and the bullshit that we're going to hit with, it's all actually showing you what you're not. But it's trying to convince you that it is you, not every thought that you think is yours. Because of the influx of the technology, because of the influx of these psychic attacks that are taking place. So recognizing that when you get hit, pull back, go into your core, and meditate upon its diametric opposite. This establishes an eternal feedback cycle that over the span of a couple minutes brings you out of it. Okay, it will bring you out. And some cycles are good. Talking about the Ouroboros real quick, side note. The Ouroboros represents the ultimate good and the ultimate evil. And yes, they do exist. Ultimate evil and ultimate good exist. And on the inverse principle of what the Ouroboros represents and what we're actually fucking dealing with the 369 and the triangulation, is that the ultimate evil has been eating the ultimate good. Now, what do you think is going to happen when you flip it upright? What does that mean? It's the ultimate good destroying the ultimate evil. There's this idea that evil needs to exist in order for people to know good. Why would we need evil to know the fucking difference? Like, you're not going to fucking know if something's good? It's about the energy of the situation. It's the frequency. It's the consciousness. And yeah, you go through many lessons learning about all these sorts of things, but it's just a side note. This is essentially your soul code genetics attempting to communicate with you through your own consciousness. If what it conveys matches all the evidence you see, or if nothing you see contradicts what it advises, then you better take it fucking seriously. Because this consciousness isn't messing around. It is here to cleanse and purge this system so that we could potentially bring things back to the original timeline that we are meant to be on. But it's going to take you realizing, knowing the difference, understanding what I'm saying, looking into it for yourself. And intuition is the most trustworthy aid that you have. Psychic, prophet, it's the inner burning voice that is deep within the core of who you are that I'm talking about. Okay, it's past the mind, it's past all the cross chatter of the mind and all the influx of these thought forms that we're dealing with when we're facing this fucking warfare. Also, pay attention to symbols in your dream state. Symbols are very, very revealing, and they're very important to understand. Because listen, it's 101. All you gotta do is take a drive down the fucking road and see all of the fucking black magic that is being used against you in symbolism. They know the power of symbols and how to use them against you. But they don't own these principles. They've just been stolen and hidden from you so that you don't know the fucking difference. And the truth is that you can make your own symbols. You can make your own sigils. I have my own that I've been working with for a few years now. And yes, it takes time for certain things to develop. But when you go into dream states and when you go into, lucid states, you need to pay attention. Sometimes you fall into these, states where you're awake and this is going on. This has happened to me too. It's like I'll just go, almost into, well, I don't want to say a trance state because I'm still pretty clear-minded. It's like that, but when you get these things coming to you, it's your external waking environment trying to convey the present nature of the situation. So getting back into dreams, they will generally warn us of an upcoming attack or one that is underway. But it's not always the case. As for dreams are also how Creator Source speaks directly to us on a multidimensional level within the higher realms. And again, all is within you. All of the realms are within you. I'm trying to show you how to access these realms so that you can get a clear communication going with the highest aspect of who you are and what you're connected to, if that's what you're connected to. Because there's a lot of people out there that are connected to many different things. And I don't work with spirits. If anything, I work with the planetary energies. Because they are consciousness. They're some of the most ancient that you could possibly work with. But again, going back to what I was saying, all is within you. The heavens above are within. As for the symbols, these can be, looked at as omens, right? Or synchronicities. Pay attention to them. They're often going to give you a heads up. Waking reality is no different than a dream, except that it is shared. Just as nightly dreams contain meaningful symbols, so can waking reality contain them. If you pay attention, you will see signs in your environment correlating with hyperdimensional attacks as well as messages from your own soul code genetics. Either way, you're receiving a message. And you have to understand the contrast that we are under and the influx of the shit that we have been up against for fucking eons. It's a lot of stuff to pierce through. It's a lot of stuff to burn through. But it's okay. Just keep going. Eventually, you're going to come into that place within the vortex where none of this shit is going to fuck with you whatsoever. Because as soon as they try to enter your field, they get fucked up. They get sent the fuck back. And that is the level of power that we need to be at within ourselves, in our lives, in our environments, with those around us, no matter what the fuck is going on. And calling shit out as it happens, not being passive aggressive, just being fucking real about shit. We don't have fucking time to fuck around anymore, you guys. Another thing I want to talk about, it's kind of odd, but significant. When the left ear rings, it indicates monitoring by hyperdimensional sources prior to an attack. While with the right ear, when it rings, it confirms the importance of some thought. So pay attention to, these things. And, kind of play around with them. These are some theories that I'm throwing out there, but they seem to be working with me. How I'm learning to understand that when this happens, how to gauge it and what to listen for. Either way, like I said, they signal, be alert and pay attention. And there's nothing wrong with asking for assistance. None of us are alone in this. And I know it feels like you're alone. I know it feels like there's nobody around that understands. But see, in that place you find your true voice. In that place you find what is truly there past it all. Sometimes it's like you need to be alone and you need to go through this whole fucking process of insane interface so that you realize how fucking powerful you really are. Some people don't fucking make it. But everyone that I'm speaking to right now, I think is going to fucking make it. If you really grab a hold of these teachings and run with them and apply them to whatever path that you're on. But do not take these teachings and the things that I say and throw them on the embers, because if you fucking do, a curse will come upon you. I'm not fucking around. I'll warn you again. If that happens, a curse will come upon you. Done. Anyways, moving on. So getting back into the ear rings. It can occur if a fight is otherwise terribly unbalanced against you. The higher forces can't always help directly, but they can help you help yourself in ways that you may not be aware of at the time. And you can choose to align and receive assistance from the higher laws and principles who command a far greater power than you could muster via the strategy of your personal willpower in and of itself alone. So have gratitude when you receive certain levels of assistance, because they are real and they are with us. But again, you need to discern, because the goal is genetics. And a lot of these, quote unquote benevolent races, they're just, they're going to give you what you think you want, but then they're going to quantify your soul. They're going to harvest your genetics, and that's why I don't trust any of them. It's not to say that some of them that are there aren't there to assist us. It's just that you need to have your tests and your gates and your grid locked the fuck down, so this if something comes in and tries to fuck with you, by putting on a front that they're on your side, you're going to know the difference. Understand also that you cannot win by taking the choices that your adversaries give you by way of skipping, skirting, or circumventing the rules that they force upon you. This is known as the third man theme. The best way to win the game, you got to stop playing by their fucking rules. Once you change the rules on what controls you, to stop reacting and alter your methods as it fits to the situation on the basis of what seems like the smartest thing to do. By gauging your method upon their approach, you're always going to be one step ahead. And that's the goal. I'm fucking 20 steps ahead of these motherfuckers. They don't even know. They don't even know what I know. And I'm not even getting into the depths. I'm still systematically, putting it out there for people that are ready to go to the next level, so that, we can raise this up higher and higher, right? Generally it's not wise, to play the game with these motherfuckers on this level unless you know what the fuck is really going down. If it happens to you, hopefully some of this, then what I'm talking about, is going to be able to assist you in the process. And right now we're coming into a time where, it can't be avoided. There is no avoiding this war, only to the advantage of the enemy. I want things to be good. At the same time, we need to realize that when it comes to defending and protecting the keep, you might have to kill some shit that tries to fuck with it. And yes, I'm a very violent person when I need to be. And when I'm not, I'm very peace-loving. Because I want to empower you guys. I want to encourage you, to see the true potential that's within you. So when all these things start hitting you, you know the difference. So again, it's not wise to play their games according to their rules. You're going to lose every fucking time if you do that. So you got to watch out in how they fall into their ambush, because they got it set up against you. Lastly, here's a summary of guidelines to keep in mind when slandered or challenged. The first thing you need to do is remain non-judgmental towards yourself. Be observant, impeccable, and calm as you can be depending on the situation. This will keep your emotional frequency elevated and stable, and assures you that you don't overreact, and helps you to focus on resolving the situation. If necessary, reveal only the universal truth in the situation. This helps you avoid becoming distracted by trivial facts such as he said, she said drama that is plentiful but worthless for you and others to invest your time and energy into. That shit gets fucking nowhere. The universal truth consists, which that can be applied again elsewhere to help you and another make better choices. Arguing over petty facts and issues is a trap, and it's quicksand that can quickly suck you in while making you believe that you're defending the truth. Instead, you're defending the unmastered ego guarding the shadow, because you're falling into the idea that what it is convincing you is you. And you got to know the difference between intuition and ego. In the ways that we disarm an attack is by exposing and revealing its underlying mechanism for all to see. This brings the manipulations into the light. And the manipulator then loses all power except over the most gullible and ignorant of people. People that know their shit and people that are grounded rarely give into manipulations when they know they're being manipulated. You know, and this is the shit you got exposed when you got to hit it right when it's fucking happening, and you got to show that you will refuse to give it any fucking power. You say no, you draw the fucking line, right? That's how you got to be. Never attack or defend ego, because if you do that, it's going to put you on their turf to be devoured. Okay, this is a big one. You know, anything done out of the unmastered ego via the shadow for the benefit of your ego or in the defense of the ego will always come back to bite you in the fucking ass. So always act out of the highest good and noblest of reasons, unless you want to learn the lesson of their necessity the hard way. Never think you stand unless you fall. It is that inversion, that arrogance. Because again, they play both sides of the fucking coin when it comes to all this stuff, you guys. They play both sides. The battle is being waged for the undecided who deserve an informed choice, not the permanently ignorant. In other words, when you're involved in an argument or defend against a slanderous attack, you can't convince those that have chosen to ignore, and you have no need to fight for those who already see the situation for what it is. Thus, all your arguing, defending, it's only for the benefit of those who have yet to choose, who are open to the truth, who may benefit from learning. If there are none of these things as time goes on, there will be less and less of them as facts become more obvious and you can make a clear decision. There is no point wasting your energy always defending yourself. Therefore, know what you're fighting for. And if it's nothing worth fighting for, then don't fucking fight for it. Let it the fuck go. We cannot override free will. It's been fucking hijacked by this malevolent force that you don't realize has been controlling reality for fucking eons. But if you know the difference, you can use this to help people make better decisions for themselves. You cannot necessarily reverse people's choices, but you can help them make more informed decisions for themselves. With this, your energy isn't spent trying to convince anyone of anything, but rather sharing what you see so that those who have yet to choose can still do it for their betterment. To avoid defeat by distraction or avoidance, never abandon your true self or give up the progress that you have made for the sake of defense or what others think or what the fuck they feel. You gotta not give a flying fuck, especially when it comes to this. When it comes to higher consciousness and what we are here to do, you have to stand in the power of this. It's not just, ideas and our this is what you are. This is what you become. This is what you step into and embody here. And you say, no, you draw the line to these fucks. You say to them, you are not going to feed off my life force, and you are not going to have my life. You are not going to have this planet. You're not going to continue to do what the fuck you did all these eons. That's the level that you've got to come up to. In full confidence, in full power, in full strength, and full beauty, and everything that is within you past all this fucking bullshit. That is when you step into your true essence. The counterpart to self-sabotage is distraction. And you are the only one responsible for succumbing to these things. There's no more excuses anymore. You can't point the finger at them. You can't point the finger at fucking anybody anymore. You got to point the finger at yourself. You got to look in the fucking mirror and say, hey, it's time. And you need to deal with these attacks as quickly and efficiently as possible. Don't dwell on the past, and don't succumb or submit to those individuals who try to open your wounds again. Anybody that does that shit, fuck them. Cut them the fuck off. Knowledge and wisdom protects. Ignorance endangers and destroys. None of this is for the faint of heart, but for those that truly know the difference. Okay, so finally I'm going to get into the aspect of actual interface with these sorts of things. Now, when you go through the process of alchemy, which I hope a lot of you have been looking into even more with my Cosmic Law of Alchemy video that I uploaded, like I said, I'm not going to get into the deeper aspects of things until you guys realize that it is all a state of mind. And going into this realm, you must also apply that law into the aspects of the lower astral and even the upper astral. And so the influx of everything that happens in that place is the consciousness that this malevolent force has been using to keep you locked into the prison that you have fucking been in. Everybody's prison escape is different. It's all unique to the individual, but all of these principles and things that I've talked about in this video still apply. I have people that often wonder and ask me, well, what do these things look like in the astral? If you really want to know and you really want to understand on a deeper level what we're actually dealing with, I have a video on the clip-off that I made that's on private. If you send me a message, I'll go through it and see if I sense to send it to you. Because once you get this information and once you start looking into this stuff, this shit is going to be present. So it takes a high level of knowledge, it takes a high level of integration, and it takes a high level of preparation before you step into all of this. Again, if you want to know what the fuck they look like, message me and I'll send you the fucking video. What you need to focus on and what you need to realize in this hour that we are in right now is that in that place you are a weapon. You have your imagination, your imagination, and you need to utilize your imagination in that realm, because in that realm you can become anything. Anything that you face there, anything that you come up against in the labyrinth of the nine veils, anything that reflects itself in the hall of mirrors needs to be met with your true essence. And so when you rise up and you become the weapon that you are in this realm, it takes time for things to manifest. It takes time for people to realize who the fuck they really are. And no matter where you are along your journey, realize that there is no arrival point. Yes, we have always been who we are, but in this life we are meant to take it to the next level. With this realm being compromised, and without you knowing how the universe actually works, how the grid works are laid out, without knowing your mechanics and how you work and how you operate on an individual multidimensional level, you're not going to know how to operate in this realm. Therefore, anything that anybody says that they are experiencing, which has to do with the grid works that have set themselves up within the astral barrier via holographic inserts and many other things that have to do with the AI tech, without the core discernment to know the difference and know how to actually operate within the true method and process of creation, you're going to be utilized and used by these things to create what they want through you, because they cannot create. They don't have the capacity to create. They don't have the capacity to create anything. That is why they want to ride in on your genetics. When you start healing and when you start waking up and you start ripping out these inroads and healing the passages in, you're going to come up against all this stuff. And there is no way around it. You can't skip it. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. The only way is through. And in 2016 and 2017, the spiral is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And even though it still may seem uncertain what is going on or what's going to happen because of all the stuff that we are still dealing with, it's now time to realize and step into your true power and become the weapon that you are meant to be in this place. You need to learn how to cultivate your armor. You need to sharpen your sword, and that's the knowledge needed to be able to withstand and understand what the fuck is really going on. And you need to learn how the game actually works. Because if you don't know how the game actually works, and you haven't studied, and you haven't researched, and you haven't confirmed certain fucking things, then you're not going to know the difference when this shit comes upon your doorstep. And the malevolence that come in the guise of benevolence know how the game works, and they know how to mind fuck you to get you thinking that you're going down the right path, but really you're not. I at least consider that everything that I've looked into, and everything that I've researched, and everything I've studied, and also everything that I have experienced has been deception. I've at least considered that. But at the same time, throughout the years, things have confirmed themselves. And so I have a pretty solid fucking foundation. with all of it. You need to decide to crush every obstacle that is holding you back from your true self and what you are truly connected to. All the potential is there, and I want to encourage and empower everybody. If you have any more questions, please get a hold of me and ask me. I am in the position to assist those to whom it's meant. I'm going to be offering my services full-time, and it will be under the Blue Flame, Healing Arts, and Occult Science that I'm going to be presenting, because now that I have presented this video, I am done with the fucking Archon bullshit. It is here now for reference so that you can come back and go over some things, but I pretty much laid it out for you. Now I'm going to be moving into the higher sciences that I know, and I'm going to be teaching these certain things so that you can truly start becoming who you really are. Again, I am not your teacher. I am not your guru. I am simply a guide along the path to help you access these things for yourself. Certain principles that work and are universal and are eternal. This is Sethikus Boza from Black Earth Productions, signing out for now. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Hit me up.